Hey, what's up, everybody out there? We got quite the show today. Fantasy football playoff preparation. We'll talk later in the show. But first, we're going to get to some playoff race and some college bowl game predictions this weekend. Let's go.
Back. I had to make sure I wasn't dreaming when he said what he said. So, but I'm
Here, of course, joined with Nick Bodkins of the Bodkins Show. Nick, what is going on over there, ladies and gentlemen? The happy Monday night. My name is Tanner Dawson of the Sports Buffoons and Whiskey Sports Podcast. I am joined by Nick of the Bodkins Show. Nick, what's going on?
What's up, man? It is another Monday night. I mean, you let it off to us like we're wrapping up, Tanner. Like football season is winding down.
It's starting to calm down, or not calm down. It's just starting to get exciting now, especially.
But it's winding down. The regular season is. We're starting to figure out who is who. There's a couple teams, who might be flying fat on their asses, and we're going to talk about one of those teams in just a little bit. But I mean, fantasy playoffs right here. I mean, are you in? I'm in. 3 leagues, 3 times.
I'm in. I should be in I think I made it in 1 and 4. So, but I had a pretty bad outing in one of my main ones this week with literally nobody scoring points for whatever reason, and Lamar Jackson not playing, Tyler Huntley going out, so that kind of killed me. So I'll know tomorrow for sure if I'm in on that one. Look, I did everything I could to make it, so we'll see what happens on that one.
I'm all the way in on my big money league, and I've had about different quarterbacks this year. So there's that. I mean, I drafted Trey Lance. Well, we know he got hurt. I've had Jared Goff at a time. I had like Daniel Dimes at a time. I had Jimmy Garoppolo at a time. I have Mike White, and now I might be starting a new quarterback on Sunday if Mike White can't go. So, there's that.
Yeah. Tyler Heineke I just picked up there, so I'm going to ride the Heineke train for at least a week, hopefully, till Lamar gets back. So it's exciting times. But yeah, guys, we got quite the show today as we talk football, and some more football, by the way, just because there's a bunch going on. We got college bowl starting this weekend. NFL playoff race just got interesting once again this past weekend, or yesterday, I guess. And today could be interesting with Kyler Murray out with that possible torn ACL. So, but you never can count out the Cardinals versus the Patriots on primetime. So we'll see. Look, they're marching down the field again. So we'll see what happens there. But yeah, let's bring in our weekly Monday night guest, Jim Behringer. Jim, what's going on?
What is up, boys? How we doing tonight?
We're good, man. What a Sunday. What a Sunday just to come through and I don't know, not necessarily upset everybody, but it caused some big pushes in the playoff race.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, think about it. I mean, obviously, the Giants got their butts handed to them by the Eagles. I mean, I don't think anybody saw that as a surprise. Just the Eagles just too good. Jalen Hurts. I mean, but realistically, this game would have changed if the defender for the Giants decides to play the ball instead of the man, and he has a pick going the other way, because that was going to go right into his hands if he jumped for the interception. But regardless, they were still going to lose. However, Seattle losing, Washington off. I mean, look, and Detroit continues to win. I mean, the NFC wild card is wide open right now, and somehow the Giants, after these losses and a tie, are somehow still alive.
Yeah, I mean,
it's nuts.
Jim, that's what I was going to ask you. Are the Giants kind of just who they thought they were? Like, they're middling out, right? Like, they were them and the Seahawks. We talked about it for the first month of the season. Like, man, these two teams, Dayball's coach of the year. They're doing something that nobody expected to, but are they kind of, take a phrase from Denny Green? Are they who we thought they were?
Yeah, I think so. I think this is the Giants team everybody expected to be this year, to be honest. Defense is just not that good. Daniel Jones is who Daniel Jones is. And they really just don't have any weapons to pass the ball to. I mean, there's just nobody that can break the game open. When Saquon's not going, the offense isn't going. The offensive line is just tough. A lot of injuries on their D. They just can't keep up with the good teams. Maybe the Magic's running out. the Brian Daboll magic from the beginning of the year where they got off to a hot start, but they also took advantage of a good schedule.
They did.
And you know what? You can't fault them for that. And I think if you're a Giants fan coming into the year and you say they went from 3 wins last year to 7 wins this year, I think that's an improvement. I think that you've seen there's definitely improvement on the field, but to compete with Philadelphia and Dallas in that division, you're going to have to take a bigger step and get playmakers on the outside.
If they don't win let's just say they don't win a game the rest of the year. I don't know what their schedule looks like, but the rest of the way. But if they don't win a game the rest of the year, is it still a success, right? Like, to me, that's still a success because, like you allude to, they went from 3 games to 7 wins.
Yeah, I mean, I think the expectations were when they got off to such a hot start. You go into the bye, you have 7 wins. I think they were 7-3 going into the bye. You think, okay, maybe playoffs now, but the way they lost Dallas, Detroit, you have the tie, then you lose again. As Tom Coughlin always used to say, you break it into quarters, right? And that quarter was just not good. Now you're into the last quarter of the season. Now you got to win at least 2 games, here to give yourself a shot at the playoffs. I mean, Indianapolis, you should be able to win that game.
W.
That should be a W. Now you got to figure out what you're going to do. You're going to split. Is Minnesota, can they beat Minnesota? Can they beat
very beatable team? Very beatable team.
I think they need to beat Washington in the division because they need a division win somewhere. You can't have a tie and somehow make the playoffs. I think the Giants have to beat Washington Sunday night.
Yeah, this is a must win. This is a must win this week for the Giants. If you're gonna make the playoffs, you gotta beat the Commanders on Sunday.
I almost think the Giants need at least 3 wins in the schedule going to play, because if you look at Washington, it's a must win, but Washington's coming off that bye, get an extra week of rest in, especially for Sunday Night Football. You got Minnesota, who showed a little struggle on their defense side against a really great Detroit offense, but Giants offense isn't massive, so they could keep that one close and pull that out. Indy should be a win, and who knows, that Sunday, June 8th game against Philly, you could be seeing the second strings and Gardner Minshew going into play. So
that's true.
That's very possible.
That's very true. You could definitely see backups in that last game, especially if Philly's got everything wrapped up.
I think you say that, but there's a rivalry right there. You know what I mean? The Eagles-Giants is one of the best.
Look, we started second strings for the Chiefs-Broncos game in the final time. Patrick Mahomes' first game was against the Broncos in Week 17 because we arrested Alex Smith and all the starters. So
if you can beat that team, if you can beat them and hold them from the playoffs, I think they do that at least a half, right? Like maybe you play the second stringers the second half, you play Minshew the second half, but
and Sirianni might be different too with Philly. He might be like, hey, we're gonna play at least the first half, and if it's not a blowout, maybe we keep going.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, look, the Giants, they have a tough road ahead, but as Daboll said, we can control it, get back to basics. Get back to work, control what they can control, fix the things that they need to fix, some mistakes for sure in these games, especially against Washington. I mean, you look back on it, right? That Washington game, I think if you get a couple of extra yards there in overtime, you're talking about a win here. And now you're going to say, okay, maybe you can stamp your foot on a playoff spot now if you beat the Washington Commanders again. But now you have to go in there and in a tough building to play, meaningful games now in December for this Giants and Washington game. And I don't know if a lot of people expected that to happen, but it's flexed for a reason.
I mean, if we look at this playoff bracket, by the way, just to look at the teams that are, contending to wild card, to being in it, Philadelphia, Minnesota, sure, but just because of the acquired talent they got, the new head coach. Tampa is always going to be there just because it's, that division's awful. But then you get teams like Washington in the mix, Giants in the mix, Seattle. See, I predicted Seattle would be the worst team in the league before the season started. And they're not. Right? Yeah. Detroit, who, went 1-5 or whatever in the first 6 games of the season, and now is on pace to, possibly take over this a wild card lead. If not, if Minnesota keeps flopping, they could take the division in that.
They're
And
not
then
they're not taking the division. They can make the. I don't think Minnesota's going to fall.
I'm
out
just
that
saying, if
bad.
Minnesota continues to flop, like Detroit's like, hey, we're right here, so don't do that. So
I don't see Minnesota losing that division.
nah,
I know
it'd be
Detroit's
hard.
playing well, but I mean they'd have to go on a major 18-wheeler tailspin to not win the division.
I mean, looking here at Minnesota's schedule,
Yeah, they're
Indy,
going to win the next few
Giants,
games.
Green Bay,
They're going to win
Chicago.
3 of those. They'll probably sweep. They should win all 4 of those games.
They technically should, yeah.
Yeah, they should win all 4 of those
maybe
games.
they lose to at Green Bay. Like that's the only game, just because it's at Green Bay and I'm a homer. So
Well, you get 2 cold games, right? So you're at home for 2, and then you go to the January 1st in Green Bay, which we all know is going to be a wonderful time this time of year.
Yeah,
and then you go down to Chicago, which is just as great weather-wise in that play. So
the Bears can't stop. Their defense is awful, though.
Oh, they're awful.
I mean,
they're so bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, in theory, Minnesota
They
should
could
take care
probably
of
win out.
business.
They should win out. But
Yeah.
I mean, I thought Detroit was probably their last tough game. But
Yeah.
who's Detroit got the rest of the way?
So Detroit right here, we got the Jets, Carolina, Chicago, and Green Bay.
Again, man, Detroit Jets, that's a key game for both teams, right? And
Mhm.
I mean, depending on what Carolina, who would thought Carolina, they're 2 games back of
Yeah, I know, right?
win the division. This is a team that got rid of their best player, fired their head coach, have had 3 different quarterbacks, and here they are, just dumb luck.
Even Steve Wilkes was, called out the franchise for tanking, for essentially cutting, some of the players, trading some of the players, and trying to tank is what he called out for in this press conference. And the guys just keep pushing. The guys just keep, playing hard and going at it. And look at Carolina's schedule. Very winnable games as well, outside of maybe Detroit, who might cause some issues, but Pittsburgh, winnable. Detroit could be winnable if they run the ball, because Detroit's run defense is pretty bad. Tampa, awful team in New Orleans.
Beat Tampa Bay. They already beat Tampa Bay.
Yeah, they already beat Tampa. So, I mean, it's a very, very winnable out season. Like, we could be coming down to week 17 or week 18 with the possibility of like 5 teams in the NFC of clinching that 6 and 7 spot.
I know, it's crazy. Right? I mean,
they may not even have a winning record or just be 500. Like, I guess they can't.
Think about it. One of those teams going to host a playoff game. We have this argument every year when there's a bad team. You're like, wait a minute. How is this team allowed to host a playoff game?
Tampa Bay, no, they would face. Well, I guess they would host the Cowboys technically.
Yeah,
right?
they would technically host the Cowboys, which is complete BS. But
and the Cowboys should dominate both of them, even though they just. I mean, I was on my show on Wednesday. I asked what the spread needed to be to me, Johnny and Scott and Craig for the Cowboys Texans. They said over 20. Shoot, you only needed 3, for that game. Like the Cowboys were favored by 13 and couldn't even cover.
Oh, and they lost. They had a win in the final. What was that? Final 30 seconds or whatever.
Yeah.
Like that's the issue with the Cowboys. I think right now is they show up for like 3 weeks in a row. Dominant offense, dominant defense, and then it's just like, oh, wait.
Don't they have Jacksonville this week?
Yeah.
I believe they do. Yeah.
That's a trap game, because who do they play Christmas Eve?
Let's pull it up. So we got Jacksonville, Philly.
Right, exactly. That's a trap game this coming week. Is a trap game for them. I think Houston was a trap game too, because they're looking ahead to the Eagles, because that's going to determine the division.
Yeah, you're right. Now, if they lose to Jacksonville, that's gonna put them in a horrible position for that Philly, let alone that Washington game at the end of the season.
Exactly. So, I mean, that's definitely, Dallas, the way they've been playing, though. I mean, Dax looked good. Zeke, Pollard's been great too. But I mean, look, I think Philly's going to take that division.
I just don't see how Philly doesn't.
I think the Cowboys could beat them on that on Christmas Eve game, but I mean, man, it's gonna be tough. Philly looks like just a complete team. Dallas at times looks like a complete team, though. And that today they signed T.Y. Hilton. I'm not saying like that's like a make or break thing, but just to add another crafty veteran,
that's a good receiver.
Yeah. And now he's rested.
In the tank. Yeah. I like that move, but I think Dallas could probably win that game. But that's still, I think Philly. That's only Philly's second loss. The Cowboys have 3 losses, right, or 4.
Yeah.
So I mean, either way, I think Philly wins out, and they're going to get the number 1 seed in the NFC. Jalen Hurts, your guys' MVP
Yeah, I
right
think
now,
so. I think
much
so. Why
less for the
not?
season.
I mean, think about it. I mean, Carson Wentz before he got hurt has similar numbers, and he was in MVP talk. Jalen Hurts is doing more with the guys that he has. I think he deserves to be in MVP talk. I think he deserves to win it. I mean, look, I love this kid's story. I mean, yeah, I
Mhm.
mean, Alabama, then
Oklahoma.
Tua
Well,
replaces him in the
Vince, yeah.
national championship game, but then Jalen saves him in the SEC title game the following year, and then he transfers to Oklahoma, gets drafted, and this is the Jalen Hurts we expected to see coming out of college, and the fact that he has his buddy Devontae Smith there, AJ Brown. I mean, look, I mean, if that's the reason why Tennessee fired their general manager, then bad on them for ever making that trade. But still, I mean, Philly just looks like on a different level right now.
They do. They're executing. AJ Brown still looks healthy, and we're going 14 weeks in the season. We haven't seen that in him with the Titans, except for his first year. So, like, I don't know. Everything seems to be clicking right. Everything seems to be going right for that Philadelphia team. And Jalen Hurts out there having to use the passing game and the run game. I think the biggest key of it all is, he's not turning the ball over.
No, he's not.
That's
He's
the
not.
hugest thing right now.
His O-line, great protection. The additions they made on defense. This team is strong on all sides of the football. I mean, saw it firsthand. I mean, look,
Yeah.
the Giants' offensive line, when it gets dominated, it got dominated against Dallas twice. It just got dominated by the Eagles. I mean, when you have a good defense coming against that Giant O-line, it's scary. And the Giants tried to run the ball, short gainage, boom, guys were already across the line. And tackled in the backfield. It reminded me a lot of that Army-Navy game on Saturday.
Which I ended up losing that bet thanks to that, overtime. First off, I lost the under because of the overtime, and then the Army won. So, I thought Navy was the overall better team. They played better. So,
yeah, but it's funny, since Navy's went on that 14-game winning streak, Army's won 5 of the last 7 years. So at least it's more balanced now.
It's still there. That's amazing. So let's talk a little college football before we get you out of here. Going into play, kind of looking at the bowl games upcoming till our next show on Monday. Here's the list going into play. I think one of my favorites is going to be that UTSA and Troy matchup coming up Friday. That one I'm excited for just because I think UTSA has played so well, but so has Troy. Has just been, I think, the last 6 weeks pretty dominating in their division, playing those games. Is there any game here on the bowl game slate before we give a little bit of predictions?
I mean, I like that. I like that Troy UTSA game too because UTSA is looking for their first win in a bowl. I think they're 0-3 in bowl games, and the way Troy's been playing, that game could go either way with 2 ranked teams there. Oregon State, Florida, to me is a game I'm gonna watch. Is I believe it's the Las Vegas Bowl this weekend, coming up, and yeah, I mean, other than that, I mean, some of the it's they'll be on, but I mean, I'd like to see what Cincinnati does now that Luke Fickell's left. So let's see what they can do with the new head coach, new system coming into play here on the weekend. But those are some of the games that stand out for me this weekend.
How about you, Nick? Anything intrigues your eye on the list here?
Just this weekend, like you guys talked about the UTCA Troy game, the Florida Oregon State game, obviously because it's Florida. 6-6 in the SEC, and they're taking on number 14 Oregon State. I kind of like I think the Gators somehow find a way to win that game. That just maybe it's like I'm buying into the SEC bias here, but and I'm not big on the Pac-12 or Oregon State, but that's always a surprise because seems like Florida has just been turning out coaches and turning out really coaches since Steve Spurrier left. Like it's just like a guy goes there, they think he's the guy. He's there for 2 to 3 years. He's fired 2 to 3 years. The next guy, like they haven't had any continuity in Florida in a long time.
It's been a bit.
Yeah, it's been a bit for sure. But yeah, I mean, look, to me, I think the I think Oregon State's going to play a good game. I like the way they've been playing. Let's see what the time off does for them. But Florida's so weird, so up and down. They had so many good wins early, and then they came back to earth a little bit with the injuries and just not playing well. It's the SEC. It's tough. I mean, again, it's the first weekend of the bowls. I mean, just there's not a lot of action going on, but I think everybody's got that ranked matchup circled on their calendars.
I agree. So let's go down the way here before we let you go, Jim, here. Just picking our bowl game predictions for this upcoming week till Monday, and then we'll do it again all next week. So let's start with the Miami, Ohio UAB game. So it looks like our best odds right now is minus 10.5 for UAB or plus 11 for Miami, Ohio. Currently, I'm looking on Betting Pros, so for the updated stuff. Who do you guys got? Jim, we'll start with you.
I'll take Miami of Ohio.
Okay.
We going with the spread? Or
no, just pick them
straight
up.
Straight up.
Yeah, straight up.
Money line. Man, I was gonna go Miami with the spread at 10.5. So, but I'll take. I don't know about either one of these teams. So give me the UAB Blazers, baby.
Yeah, I'm going UAB as well, just because of the run game they've gone. The offense has been clicking lately, so. I know Miami Ohio's been, pretty decent team as of late, but I think UAB wins it here. So I'm going UAB. So we got big game UTSA at Troy. Get the updated here. So we're looking at 1.5 spread for favoring Troy right now. Actually, a sports book. Who has that? DraftKings has Troy at plus 1.5. The only one. So there you go. But who do you guys got here for Pick'em?
I'm going to take Troy. I like the way they've been playing. I mean, UTSA, I know, everybody's going to ride that train, but I like Troy here.
I like the Roadrunners, baby. Let's get their first bowl win here. It's time. Let's get it. It's now. You're playing another kind of, smaller school in Troy. This is it. This is your time. Let's get it done.
Yeah, I really want to go the UTSA route just because I already have money on them. But I think Troy ends up winning this game. So give me Troy in this game. Next up, Florida, Oregon State. Oregon State, we all know it has that win against Oregon to kick them out of the Pac-12 championship game. Yep. You're looking at the current spread at 10.5, 7.5 still at DraftKings, but 10.5 favoring Oregon State.
If this was against the spread, I'd definitely take Florida plus 10. I would definitely take Florida plus 10. I'm going to say Oregon State wins this game. This is straight up.
Are you going to go the SEC nature, Nick?
So my heart says pick Florida, but my brain says go ahead and take the Beavers. So I'm going to take the Beavers here, Oregon State. I'm going to ride with Jim on this one.
I think Oregon State is going to be the ultimate winner.
Lock
it in. Get the hammer out, baby. Oregon State. Next up, SMU, BYU. Looking at that. Where's that game? We're looking at a 5.5. Oh, DraftKings again at 1.5 right now, but we're looking at a 5.5 spread, 4.5 spread, kind of all over the place, but across the board on this SMU BYU game. Who you got, Jim?
Oh man, it's so tough because it's like a battle. This is like a tough game because
it is. And BYU is one of those very inconsistent teams. Like they can play with people, and then they
so
can't.
Is SMU. Both teams can play.
True.
Like both teams can play. I'm gonna take BYU here. I mean, I've seen them play a lot. I like what they bring, their offense. But am I confident in it? If I had to rank it, I'd probably put it like 1 on it. But I mean, we'll see what happens.
All right. Who you got, Nick?
Give me the SMU Mustangs, baby. I'll never live in Utah, never want to go to Utah. I'm staying all the way out of Utah. So give me SMU, baby. Give me Eric Dickerson's boys, Oh, wait, that was way back at the Pony Express.
I was like, Pony Express,
that's a little baby. Back there. That's a little back there. Give me BYU for the win here. I think they turned it on after a little rest. So give me BYU. Up next here, we got Washington State and Fresno State in this matchup. Let's see here. I passed that. So that's sitting in about 3 points favorite for Fresno State currently. So who you got?
Fresno State's a good team. I've seen them play. If you stay up late, watch them. I believe Mountain West.
Yeah.
I've seen them play against San Diego State. I've seen them play against a lot of good schools. I like Fresno State in this game. I mean, look, Crimson, they're good. But Fresno State's on a different level. I could see them winning this game for sure.
You got Nick.
Jim sold me on Fresno State, so I'm gonna go with I'll go with Fresno State here in the Bulldogs. I mean, you get 7 wins. I don't even think you really should be really much of a bull team.
Well, I mean, before we move on, this is my thing. If you got to be at least 7-5 to go to a bowl game, 6-6, I'm not liking it. Especially and when they're reaching for teams that don't have 500 records, then I'm just like 5-7. Why?
Yeah. What's the point?
Rice. Yeah, looking at you, Rice, down there at 5.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
What's the point? I think this one actually has a little bit of potential to be an upset, so I'm going Washington State on this. I love Fresno State, the way they've been playing. That championship game, they looked really great, but I think Washington State somehow pulls this out. I don't know. I just got the feeling of the upset. Cincy, Louisville.
I got Cincy. I'm taking Cincinnati. I'm Bearcat.
You're Bearcatting it? Oh, man.
Bearcatting it.
Yeah, Big 12 next year, right, for them? So,
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. So we're at a 1.5, 2.5 favorite.
I'd rather watch them. I'd rather watch their 2 basketball schools, Cincinnati and Louisville, before I watch their football teams. But I mean, Jim alluded to no Fickle. Luke Fickle. Is it Fickle?
Fickle, yeah.
Right? Yeah, Luke Fickle for Cincinnati anymore. I always feel like a lot of times it can either go one way. It's like that rises on the team, like he left us and they rise together, or it's because he's not there. They plummet. I'm gonna go Louisville, baby. Let's go Cardinals, baby. Come on.
I'm gonna go Cincy here. This seems like a pretty easy choice on this one for me, so not a big deal. All right, your guys' favorite matchup of the day: Rice and Southern Miss.
Barn burner.
Can I say pass?
Yeah, right. Oh my. My. 6.5 favorite, 6.5 favorite for Southern Miss right now. I'd have to say you gotta take Southern Miss.
I'll go Southern Miss here. I got nothing else to say.
There's nothing. There's no way.
Brett Favre's not walking through that door. He's out stealing Medicaid and Medicaid fraud. But with that being said, I'm still gonna take Southern Miss. Lock it in.
All right.
North Texas and Boise State. A couple of teams that,
North Texas could steal this game here.
They really could. Like, this has another thing of upset potential. Right now, they're at a 10.5, 8.5 kind of spread around there between the 8.5, 10.5 as a road dog against the Boise State, who are favorite. What are you guys thinking here?
I'll take Boise.
Yeah, I miss when Boise State was like the Cinderella teams and like knocking on the BCS days.
Oh, you mean when they knocked off Ohio State in the Fiesta Bowl?
Yes.
And Oklahoma. I miss those glory days of Boise State. But they're gonna relive one more. Let's go, Boise. You're winning the who knows Frisco Bowl, baby. Let's go. Come on.
Yeah, I think there's another upset potential. I'm gonna go North Texas, guys, in this one. I know it's a risky one, but I'm gonna go North Texas in this. Getting a little upset here. And the final game on next Monday, we got Marshall, UConn. 2 teams that kind of, or at least UConn that snuck in with the 6-6 record here. If we look at the spread here, Marshall is favored by 10.5 right now across the board. What's your guys' take on this one?
Give me Marshall, baby. We are Marshall. They had the big win this year against Notre Dame.
Yeah.
So let's go with Marshall all the day.
Yeah, Jim alluded to it. Randy Moss and Chad Pennington beat up Notre Dame. Oh, wait, they're not on the team, but Byron Leftwich still on the team. No, just kidding. They had the big win against Notre Dame. They can beat the measly UConn Huskies. Again, if this was basketball, I'm taking the Huskies all day, but we're throwing the pigskin, baby. We are Marshall.
Woo!
I'm going Marshall as well. Well, I don't think UConn I mean, they snuck into the bowl. Let's be real with that 6-6
Yeah.
record. So couple big wins, couple sneaking wins, and they got it. So, but that's what we got, guys. So we'll see how we do, and we'll go over next week's bowl week. Get our little predictions in too. So kind of a little deal for us. So, Jim, we'll let you go. We're at the 30-minute mark. Appreciate you hopping on, talking a little NFL and college with us.
Hey guys, thanks for having me here on a Monday.
Hey,
Always a
see you,
pleasure to
Jim.
do this. Absolutely, Nick, Tanner. Absolutely, guys. Have a great night.
Hey, you too, man. Thank you.
Thanks, babe.
All right, it's Jim Behringer, guys. Always great talking with him. So, Nick, let's it's just gonna be you and me for a little bit till Jonathan gets down here. He should just be wrapping up practice. So,
Got a lot to get to with Jonathan. A lot of baseball news broke
Oh,
in the
yeah.
past week, man.
there was a lot of baseball news. So we got to talk with him, kind of get some predictions, showing some free agent stuff too, from him. But let's talk about a little fantasy football playoff prep, right? So, honestly, if you're now just prepping for the playoffs in your fantasy league, like even if you weren't sure if you're going to make it, you're probably 2 or 3 weeks off. Because right now you should already been looking at guys, picking up guys, handcuffs, stuff like that. Look at the defenses, see if who they got coming up. Maybe you can get a sneaky Washington or a Giants against Indy or something like that too, or Philly's out there for whatever weird reason. So going out, looking the free agent wire, and kind of hovering that waiver wire for a while, kind of build up your team just to protect against injuries that it's happened the last couple of weeks. But do you have any
matchups? Looking
What?
at matchups, like that's what I
Matchups,
look
yes.
at matchups at least, especially when it comes like quarterbacks and like running backs. I think wide receivers isn't so bad. I mean, because they're gonna get theirs, I feel like. But if you got a team that's a running back and his next 3 games, I mean, the Bucks can still stop the run, or they're going against Philly that can stop the run. You're looking at maybe trying to plug somebody else, get somebody else on your team. But this is it, man. This is what comes down to this week. You win and you advance, you lose, and well, if you paid money, money lost. So
See, that's the thing is a lot of leagues I've heard has like a reward system for the toilet bowl. Even so, like even if you didn't make the winners bracket, you're still in the toilet bowl. But a lot of people have the reward at the end of the toilet bowl. Like Matt Larson, when I was talking to him on last Thursday, he said his reward was basically his pick of choice for that next draft. So he could take the first, or he could take the third, or the fourth, or whatever.
Lost Tanner. Well, he was just kind of talking there about the toilet bowl with him and Matt.
Sorry, it crashed on me.
Oh, you're good. Got it back.
It literally said, "Not your fault." Is what it said on the screen.
Oh, really?
So it was StreamYard. Yeah, it's all right.
That happened to me once. Oh, it happened to him again. Anyway, so we're just talking the fantasy stuff. A lot of fantasy to get into. I mean, like Tanner was saying, hopefully you guys have looked into your matchups and leagues. There is some leagues, like you were saying, that you pay. My league, you get a pick whether you want the first or second seed if you get the toilet bowl.
Okay.
Some people don't like that first pick. So.
See, I wouldn't like it. See, I would pick more. I honestly would probably go for like the fourth or fifth, because I would want that middle round, middle of the draft, depending the size of the league, of course. But I'd probably aim for that fourth or fifth if I would have done that.
Yeah, in our money league, if you win this week, in our big money league, it's 12 teams, $100. You win your money back if you win a playoff game. So, and then your money goes up from there. So
that's interesting. I have not heard that one.
Yeah. So if you win this week, if I break this week, and then it's down to the final 4 teams, those final 4 at least would win their money back.
Interesting. Okay.
So this is, at least if I win this one, I break even. If I don't, then well, somebody's winning money. But this is it. So playing Craig, everybody who watches my show knows who Craig is. He's got a dangerous team. He's kind of backdoored into the playoffs, but he beat me. That was the week I had Joe Mixon and he had Justin Fields, and Mixon went for 50 and Justin Fields went for about 60. And so he beat me that week. And here we are again playing in round one of the playoffs.
Huh, that's interesting. That you had to end up doing that with him. Oh, of course. Why would you not work? There we go. Let's see if this works here.
What's your thoughts on this Monday night game so far? Patriots and, we talked about it. Kyler toward ACL. The Cardinals their season's done, right? Like, I mean,
I hate to say I'm not surprised that the Patriots are losing, but I'm not surprised.
Yeah, their offense is awful. Is that a Mac Jones thing or is that a Matt Patricia thing?
I think it's a combo of things. I really do. I don't think you can blame Mac Jones or Matt Patricia or Bill Belichick. I just think you can blame. I guess you can blame Bill Belichick. I guess in the end,
they have no weapons, no.
Oh no,
it's no wide receivers.
It's awful. It's legit one of the worst energy I've seen. Like now you got. I mean, you had what's his name, Colt McCoy, right before half, almost bouncing down to score again before half, and they ended up stopping him on fourth down, luckily because of that defense. But like when you're letting guys go down there and your offense isn't stopping Jack, I bet you they're last week. What was it? Last Thursday or whatever it was, whatever Thursday game they had, it was literally like a 15-minute difference in ball control, the possession time. And like if it's anything like that right now, where the offense isn't moving, it's not good. It's not good for stuff.
What was your biggest surprise yesterday?
Honestly, I did not expect the Titans to bow down like that to the Jags, especially such a tight race with the Bengals, with where they're at right now in the division. So I honestly, that was probably my big one. I was very surprised to see, especially the score it was, and how well they did not play. That's probably the big one for me.
Mine was definitely Tom Brady and the Buccaneers, man. Like I mean, they lost to Brock Purdy and the 49ers, and I understand. And then Debo got hurt in that game as well. And they just it wasn't even a close game. They just got beat down. I mean, is it over for Tom Brady? Is it the Tom Brady that we have known and watched for the last, I don't know, 20 years?
I don't think
Tom Brady
so.
gone?
I don't think so.
To me, he
I don't think
can't make
count
the
him out
throws
yet.
that he used to make. He looks like, remember when Peyton Manning, I know he won the Super Bowl that year, but that's what he looks like. That Peyton Manning that can't just find the right pass, can't throw the deep ball.
You think it's his arm and everything like that?
I think this, Father Time's undefeated.
It's true. It's not a lie on that one. For that. I just don't think he's out out yet. I think he's still there. I think there's enough for him if he can get just a little help, just a little. I mean, like I'm saying a little longer. And we talked on Sunday to Swords and Cannons podcast. He was saying that Tom Brady is already almost a second ahead from last year of trying to get the ball out because he doesn't have any damn time.
Yeah, their offensive line is atrocious. I mean, it's bad. It started with Jansen losing him in the offseason. For the year, their best center, and then Tristan Wirfs, who's one of their other one of the other better offensive linemen in the league. They lost him a couple weeks ago, but they still got They still got weapons. They still got. It's just, I mean, I think it's Tom Brady just looks old. I mean, there's throws when he does throw it. He used to put it right in the bucket, and he just can't hit Mike Evans like. And it's just like, man, Tom Brady, even 2 years ago, even maybe last year, I think last year they led the league in big plays. And now they're like almost dead last.
I just don't think you still can't count out Tom Brady because obviously we saw what he did with the Saints last Monday. He's still able to come down and execute.
Drill.
Huh?
So part of that's 2-minute drill, right? So 2 minutes. Yeah. The Saints were giving them everything underneath.
That's true.
Tom Brady was taking it. Tom Brady's always going to take it. He's done that 1,000 times, and he'll always do that. But in the course of a game outside of those 2 minutes, he still looked like he didn't look good outside of those 2 minutes of that final game on Monday night. And then when you're taking away that underneath stuff, he can't throw it deep anymore.
So let's talk about his weapons though right now, right? So yeah, Godwin coming off an ACL, he honestly hasn't looked the same at all since he returned. Mike Evans is like the only legit target they got, and he's beat up with his back since week 3. And then you got Julio Jones, who looks like not Julio Jones. Yeah. Henry Ruggs not out there.
Henry Ruggs.
You know,
you mean Henry Ruggs is in prison. You're talking what's his name? Guy from Atlanta last year they just signed.
Not the guy speeding, the guy that runs fast too. So
what's his name? He played in Atlanta last year.
I know, I can't remember his name.
Once you say it, I'll think of it.
I got it. Oh, Russell Gage.
Russell Gage, yeah. I was like, Henry Ruggs. He ain't never had Henry Ruggs.
Hey, you might as well sign him and get Antonio Brown back. Let's get the band back together, right? So,
right.
Geez, man, it's so bad. Like, I don't know. I just don't feel like we talk about the big names and its weapons, but we're not talking about what they look like, what's happening with them as well.
No Gronk. I know.
No Gronk, no solid tight end option. They're not using Kyle Rudolph very much, who I thought would almost replace that Gronk role, just how big he is, and we've seen how athletic he can be, to be able to do that. Outside the running game is very inconsistent. Rashad White, Leonard Fournette. It's like we talk about these big names with Tom Brady. Like, sure, he's got some big names, some big targets. A lot of teams would beg for, but Julio Jones missed almost half the year, and now he's not even looking that legit. He can't even get open half the time on any of these defenses. Like I said, Mike Evans has a back issue. Yeah. Chris Godwin, his speed is not as quick as he used to be, and we're seeing the effect of that. And he's having, and he's even having issues staying as healthy as he can on, blocking and stuff like that. We saw it against the Chiefs too. I just feel like this Bucks team, they've had a couple great years going to play. Now they're hurt on the offensive line, but they're also hurt and banged up and, kind of everywhere else on this team. And it might be the age thing. Like you said, Father Time might be coming in. Julio Jones, it might be time to, just put him up. It's time to almost blow this team up is getting pretty damn close to it for this Tampa Bay team. This is still, still a team. Like anytime you have Tom Brady back there, you still can't count him out, but it sure feels similar to his last year in New England when they ended up losing Tennessee. Feels pretty similar.
I want to flip it to the other side of that game, and Brock Purdy looked really damn good against a pretty good Bucks defense, a defense that had been playing, well. Let me ask you this, and this is very hypothetical. What happens if Brock Purdy leads the 49ers, let's just say, to either the NFC Championship game or even to the Super Bowl? What do they do going forward?
So I would say, for me, if it was the Super Bowl, I'd say Jimmy G, of course, isn't staying. But what do you do with Trey Lance?
You go run it back with Brock Purdy and Trey Lance is one.
I think Trey Lance just stays on the bench where he probably belongs right now still. Like, I don't think this guy's – we saw it, the first couple weeks. We saw it last year. Trey Lance isn't ready, guys. Trey Lance isn't ready. This is not a team to win with a Trey Lance quarterback. We're seeing Brock Purdy come out and not turn the ball over, run the field down. It's almost like a Cooper Rush right now is what we're seeing. Simple play call, but able to execute it to their guys and stuff. So I think, and Brock Purdy is not a runner like Trey Lance is. It's not, they don't have to adjust to that running style kind of game like a Trey Lance. You're going back to a Jimmy G. So now you're just filling in a Jimmy G to a Brock Purdy. And you can have similar game plans to it, maybe more simplified for him, of course. We're being a third stringer practice squad, but I think if this guy takes you to the Super Bowl, I don't see no reason why you have to commit to Trey Lance as your starter next year. I'd say throw it in the training camp and have a quarterback competition, and whoever looks better at that time, there's your starter. And guess what? Now you pull a Jimmy G, Trey Lance thing again this year. Let's say Trey Lance starts again because he looked better, not because they want to dedicate to him, but because he looked better. Well, guess what? Trey Lance gets hurt, or if he starts, crapping out week 3 or week 4, and you're not happy with it, put Brock Purdy in. Why not? You got a defense to support you. You got the weapons. Brandon Ayuk, Debo, they're going to be around for a little bit. Christian McCaffrey's around for a little bit. It's in George Kittle, of course.
George
So
Kittle,
it's not like you don't have the opportunity to still explore it. You still have the opportunity, but if you're going to explore Trey Lance again, you got to set a time limit at this time. You can't just say I'm going to ride with him through 16 weeks of horror or horrible stuff. It's like you can't do that.
And he hasn't played meaningful football in 3 years. Like it'll be like 2019 since he's really played full.
He played one game in college that first year because of the COVID stuff. Last year he played, he filled in a few games, but he got hurt too.
Yeah.
Same way he got hurt this year. So I think you have to, I don't want to say you not commit to Trey Lance, but don't commit to Trey Lance. Don't commit to a starting quarterback right away. Don't be because you drafted the guy this high that you have to stick with him. Do what's best for your football team. And I think that's the issue maybe we're seeing in, some of these teams. The Jets, for instance, right? They're like, oh, we got to go back to Zach Wilson. He's healthy. We got to go back to Zach Wilson. Obviously, it's not what's best for your football team. Right?
Speaking of the Jets, I mean, if Mike White can't go, it looks like they're going with Joe Flacco.
And how huge of a sign is that? If you were Zach Wilson sitting on the bench, how huge of a sign is it?
Zach Wilson is done as the Jets. I know Italy Jet comes on Sundays.
Yes,
and he says that they think they can go with Zach Wilson next year. Here's the thing: if Joe Flacco's starting over Zach Wilson after Mike White gets hurt, there's a telltale sign they are done and wash their hands with Zach Wilson. See you down the road. See you on a different team. Zach Wilson will either get cut or traded in this offseason. That's my pick.
I see no reason why you keep Zach Wilson around. It just feels like the whole deal against with the Patriots when Bailey Zappi came in at halftime and Mac Jones threw a fit. I'm sure we're bound to see it if he hasn't already. Zach Wilson over there with the Jets, like you're putting Joe Flacco in playoff prime, trying to make the playoffs still, and you're having to go up Flacco over Zach Wilson. Like how big of a telltale sign is that for Zach Wilson right now? How, just the energy he probably has is gone, and it obviously doesn't have it with his teammates. It's not there. The connection's not there. So it's a pretty huge deal actually with that Jets team right now. If Mike White can't go. So
it'll be a huge sign. And it sounds like, from what I've read, is that Mike White should be able to go. It's a pain manageable thing. Man, he took some absolutely brutal shots.
Did you see that spear, that final one?
Yes. I mean, that was a Bill Goldberg, spear type. And he, had to be rushed to the hospital. They just kept putting him back out there. I mean, like a Rocky type situation. Like
it's like one of those. Have you seen that video of the guy playing the goalie? And every time they kick it, hits his face over and over and over. And you're doing so good.
Yeah.
That's what it feels like. Last week there.
What it was like. Yeah.
Hey, before Jonathan does get on, I do want to share a couple of tools here now that my StreamYard's back working here. So the first one, of course, is fantasyfootballforthepeople.com. This is Ryan Larison's site. A great fantasy tool if you're looking for rankings, if you're looking for any kind of stats, articles. This is the site for it. They do a great job over there for, especially during playoff week. Who are you going to start? Who are you not? Like, look through the rankings, get some advice. Everybody's looking for something at this time of year. So fantasy football for the people, Ryan Larison takes care of that. And he has another guy with him. They do a great job there. Another one.
You can also just tweet out to Fantasy for the People too, and Ryan's great about getting any questions answered.
Triple FTP
on the Twitter. Yep.
Triple FTP.
Just asked him a question today. Sent me wait a little bit and sent me a tweet right back. Said I would go with this. So he's super good about
His
getting
response time is amazing. For
yes.
a guy with 992 leagues, it's pretty amazing that he has time to even worry about that. So, next one, Ryan, it's also a part of, but I also actually listen to these guys that, Ryan's not on this podcast at all. But wagmefantasy.com, another great site to look at. They have a weekly podcast. They give you either your starts, must sits, it's playoff time. They're in the playoffs on their side as well. A couple of the highest scoring teams, by the way, for both of those guys, Ryan and Colin. I'm gonna say that's wrong, but they're great guys to listen to, and they give you great advice as well. And then finally, the other one. This is the one I actually use when I need some advice here, and it's fairly cheap right now too. It's Basement Brood Fantasy Football, basementbroodff.com. Use referral, my name, Tanner Dawson. But this is an example of a heat map from last week of kind of like the too good to be true lineups, the meh, and the, disregard, don't even bother with guys. So if you're looking to set your lineups, this is a great heat map to look back to. He has more with it. You can see the left-hand side with even more ratings going to play. So, and there's actually little notes there as well. Let's see if I can do it real quick here. So you can see that he actually has notes for every single player, kind of an advice deal going into play. It is one of the best tools out there, honestly. And if I can refresh here, Mikey does a great job on this. There it is. So he has a holiday sale currently. Subscribers pay just $1 per month as long as they subscribe. So if you go subscribe, guys, the price will never increase. You can afford $1 a month to go subscribe to Basement Brood Fantasy Football.com. He has a great podcast as well. He does weekly as well. Mikey does a great job, and he's also very responsive. Has a great Discord channel. It's a great site to go check out. So make sure you guys, like, if you're looking for some help for advice, whatever it was, those are 3 great fantasy football sites to check out on that. So, but yeah, that's just want to throw that out there for everybody there. Just if you're looking for, like I said, playoff preparations, big week starting this week for a lot of people, and some people not so much here going into play. Depends who you are. So, but yeah, Nick, we're waiting. Jonathan's still here. I know we're going to talk a little baseball with him. Get some little baseball news here for the next 20. But it looks like Colt McCoy is marching down the field again.
Yeah, 13-13. It's fourth. It's third. Well, this says
3rd and 9.
The marker says third
he's down.
But
yeah.
The thing says fourth down. 4th and 5. They're going for it.
4th and 5. This is the second time they've gone for it this game.
Another team that I kind of asked Johnny towards the end of his show, what is going on with Johnny and his Dolphins here? 0 for 2 on the California road trip. Oh, he dropped it.
Nice. I don't know. I don't get what's going on with the Dolphins.
That defense just can't. I mean, they can't stop a nosebleed right now.
No, but the offense can't take advantage of a bad defense. The Chargers defense isn't that great. Wow, nice drop. Solid. Way to go, Hollywood Brown. Yeah, it's like, I don't get it. It's just so bad. I got Z Money. What's up, Z Money? Thanks for commenting in. I need D-Hop to get 20 points or a touchdown. Do you think I get it? Actually,
I don't know. What's he at right now? I have.
I don't know. Let's view some stats real quick here, because it depends where he's at now.
I'm riding with him on my team.
Yeah, me too. Actually, I need him to do well. I got a couple bets out there. He
currently has 7 points, so he needs 13. He's got 3 receptions for 43 yards and 6 targets. So they're still targeting him. Now what scares me is that Kyler is down, because that was Kyler's go-to. No matter what.
Yeah, but Colt McCoy is out there. I think Colt McCoy.
I think McCoy spreads the ball around. McCoy will chuck it down.
He does.
And just also throw it to Brown, who dropped the ball. He throws it to D-Hop. D-Hop's getting it. I don't care what anybody says, even if he's triple covered.
Yeah, that's true.
D-Hop does.
I guess that is true for Colt McCoy, kind of why he does succeed in those backup roles that he is, because he does go out to Brown. He'll go to Rondell Moore, Connor.
Yeah, he's smart when he's out there.
versus Kyler, who just runs around, scrambles around backfield, and goes, "Oh, D Hop's down there somewhere," and
Yes,
tosses it.
exactly.
So I don't know, Z Money. I'm needing him to get pretty close to that 20-point mark, or even a touchdown. I'll even take it. I got a couple bets out there with him too. At least getting, I thought would be at least 80 yards. So it's not looking that great right now for that just yet.
I don't
But
think he's getting it tonight, Z Money. I just don't.
yeah,
Unless
it's gonna
he
be tough,
somehow
man. It's a tough go on
even
this
if he
Kyler
catches
Murray.
even if he catches a touchdown, I mean, it just depends. I don't think he's getting 20 points. He might catch that touchdown, but I don't know about.
See, here's the deal too with Arizona. Arizona had this game pretty much in the bank. Should have had this money in the bank because New England is awful against running quarterbacks. And what is Kyler Murray going to do? All the way down the field. And, he ended up going down, and it's bad news for a lot of bettors, a lot of Arizona bettors. I did not pick the Arizona spread, so I have the -1 for New England, or I think -2.5, whatever it was when I did it. But it's the Kyler Murray thing going down should scare a lot of people for the D Hop numbers too for fantasy football. Just because D Hop and Kyler, like Nick said, that's where he's going. That's where he's going almost 60% of the time, 70% of the time with all the targets. So there's still a chance to Colt McCoy in, but I'm not as confident into him getting at least the 20 points. But I think he'll get at least a touchdown. All right, looks like he's in. Let's bring in Jonathan Grishman. What's up, dude?
How's it going, guys?
Good. How was practice?
Oh, it was cold and rainy.
That sounds wonderful.
Oh yeah. Everybody, all the girls and everybody was like, "Hey, so why are we practicing?" I'm like, "Because it's not that bad. We don't melt.
Exactly.
We'll go practice in the rain a little bit."
It don't snow.
It's not gonna hurt you.
Snow, it don't snow down there in Texas, does it?
Every now and then, we had that bad snowstorm 2 years ago that completely shut down the state.
Oh, it shut down more than the state. I was working at a sports store during that time when you guys got it, and their home is there. Their home, building and everything, completely ruined half the servers. We couldn't do half the stuff because it just took care of it. Like it took them almost a month just to get everything back going during Christmas season. So.
Oh yeah, well the one that hit us was it was February. It was real bad. It got us. And,
oh yeah, that's true too. I forgot that time.
That one shut it shut everything down for that. So yeah, they call it, it's North Texas. So they say basically everything this is the north. We're technically north here in Dallas Fort Worth. So yeah, it'll get some snow out here every now and then.
That's great. That's great. So hey man, we got a little bit of baseball to talk about with you. Some things, some more stuff, some more rumors going to play. Nick, I'll let you kick that off, man.
Well, I mean, first we had Aaron Judge got the big deal. It was first reported to the Giants, and then it was the Padres offered $400 million for 10 years, but at the end of the day, stays with New York, 9-year deal. That happened. Willie Contreras broke my heart to signs with the Cardinals. And then I got to ask you too, Cody Bellinger is a Cub now. What should I expect from him? So you can kind of answer all three of those all at one time.
Yeah, I was a little surprised. I said to you guys that I thought the Giants were the team for Aaron Judge, and that was my prediction where he was going to go. And I mean, the money was there from both Giants and Padres. He was going around telling people legacy mattered to him, and he showed it. Legacy mattered, and so kudos to him that he kept that as far as what his main priority was. And established himself as such. They're saying that he'll be the next captain of the Yankees after this deal now as well. So. And that's a legacy. That's a legacy thing. You're up there with Munson and Jeter as captains. I mean, that's a huge accomplishment as far as for his career. So I was surprised though, because like I said, the money was there for him to go to San Francisco. The money was there to go to Padres, and he turned that down. So again, surprised, but at the same time, the ultimate risk that he took betting on himself, turning down a $200 million contract at the beginning of the season with the Yankees, and he cashed in with $360 million. So, I mean, hey, he played hardball and he won. He absolutely won. So it was a gamble that the Yankees did not want to lose, and they found They upped it. They upped that last year, that 9th year. They were offering 8th, from what I saw. The reports were, and sure enough, they said, okay, hey, you want it? We'll give it to you. Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how does the duration of his career line out with that, and how successful he is throughout. That, and that's going to be that's now the main thing is if you don't win a World Series in these 9 years, that's a failure. I don't care. Yankee fans don't care what your stats are in this 9-year career. If you don't win a World Series ring as a Yankee, you failed. So that's a legacy part right there. If he wins as a captain, he wins the World Series. He'll be
just win one or more than one, because I mean we know the Yankees and how what they're supposed to do.
If he wins one, they'll find a way to be happy about it. Like I said, they'll find a way to be happy about it. But obviously, again, you are correct that Yankee fans expect World Series title every year, and so if every season he does not win one, they're going to look at it as a failure. But if he brings in at least one title, the Yankee fans will be happy about that in that aspect of saying that, okay, this was worth it. Now, again, how is the back end of that contract, the last 4 years, let's just say the last 4 years of that contract, how does he perform in that aspect? If he's not performing what we think he's going to do, 40 home runs, 100 RBIs, then that's a different question that Yankee fans are going to be asking. Was it worth it at that point? Even if he wins, let's just say he wins a title in year 2, and then plays the first 5 years and then falls off a cliff the last 4 years, there's going to be a bigger conversation that needs to be had. So legacy, as I said, legacy matters. It means a World Series title now. And that's what's going to be expectations every year for Aaron Judge at this point on.
Yeah.
In regards as far as your boy Contreras, I was shocked, actually. And then he took a shot at the Cubs, too.
It's not Willie's fault. That's that's what I want to clarify, and I think every Cub fan knows that it's not his fault. I blame Jed Hoyer. I blame Tom Ricketts. That's a deal that should have got done. I went on a rant about it on my Thursday morning show. That 2 guys on that 16 team should have never walked out of Wrigley. Anthony Rizzo being 1, Willie Contreras being 2. Those were the 2 guys that should have stayed. I don't blame Wilson. And then Yachty calls him up and they get the damn deal done to go to St. Louis. And I mean, when Yachty Molina Hall of Fame tells you to come to St. Louis, you're going to do it.
You go to St. Louis.
Do you think the comments Contreras said about the comparison of the Cardinals franchise to the Cubs franchise was fair?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if I heard what did he say, because I don't know if I heard that part.
Essentially, taking bits out of it, he was basically saying that going to a franchise that has a history of winning, a strong history was the selling point for him to go to the Cardinals compared to what he's been dealing with the Cubs. And I mean,
the Cardinals traditionally have that's true. Cardinals traditionally have a winning organization. Cubs Willie helped start that winning tradition and was continuing it, and then they pissed on him. They didn't offer him a good extension. Then they gave him a qualifying offer. Then they were going to trade him and didn't trade him, so he had to deal with all those sorts of emotions. They never really offered him a contract worth given a guy who's arguably the best hitting catcher in the league, arguably the best catcher in the league. There's only 1 or 2 probably if you're going to rank above him. I know his defense has come a long, long way. He's not Yachty Molina behind the plate, but he's which nobody is, but he's very much improved since even 2016 to now. He's a leader. He's a captain of your damn team, and you just let him go to your arch rival across the way. I'm not mad at Wilson Contreras. I think when he comes back to Chicago, they'll give him a warm welcome. I'm more mad at Tom Ricketts, and I'm more mad at Jed Hoyer because that's whose fault it is. Allegedly, Ricketts gave Hoyer the go-to to spend money, whatever you need to spend. And the only thing we've got is a former MVP who's got 400 strikeouts.
Well, in regards to the Cardinals, you replace Yadier Molina with essentially a younger version of what Molina was.
Exactly.
Again, not to the defensive elite level that that Yachty was even at his peak at his young career. Because I agree that Contreras has got a long way. I don't think he's the best defensive catcher. I think that goes to Real Muto right now, but Contreras is in the conversation. He's absolutely in the conversation. So you have you replace Yachty, your legend catcher, with an all-star or perennial all-star catcher that's still at a high level. So and that makes the Cardinals very dangerous now. Again, even more so than what we saw when they have Goldschmidt. You have Arenado, who figured it out this year outside of Coors Field, and he's now figured out how to play and hit in Busch Stadium. It's a young core group that you now throw a leader, as you said, another leader. That Goldschmidt was a leader of the team. Arenado had been has the secondary leader. Now you throw a third leader on that group to build around with that core group. That's scary. And I'm kind of surprised nobody's talking about the Cardinals as much as the team that's going to be the scariest in 2023. I think that's going to be a team that if they can continue pitching as well as they did throughout the year this past season, they are going to be in the conversation for one of the top 2 teams in the NL.
By far, let alone taking that division.
Oh, they'll run away with that division.
Yeah, they should. Yeah.
Brewers haven't done enough to kind of get themselves back in the conversation. Cubs aren't doing enough to really get themselves in the conversation. Reds, they're not doing anything really.
They're like the Royals right now.
I mean,
dead silence.
Cardinals probably could win that division by more than 15 games. And probably 20 if it really comes down to it. They'll probably win the game. They'll probably win the NL Central by 20 games. I think it's just not even. It won't even be close. I don't think. But I do say about your signing for the Cubs, Bellinger, with the defensive shift gone, you'll see an improved Bellinger in regards as far as statistics. The basic statistics as far as average. I don't think all the guys who batted like 160, 170, 180, Bellinger, Gallo, they'll bat what their normal career numbers are, 240, 250, I think, as far as like at the high level of it would be. I think they'll be about a 240 hitter, 250, which again, I mean, that's not great, but you're going to get 40 home runs again. You're going to get the 30 home runs. I think Bellinger he'll figure it out a little bit better and be a 240 hitter, which if you get a 240 average out of Cody Bellinger right now, you might be happy with that just because that was what he was. 250, I think is what year he was. I have to remember correctly what his MVP stats were, as far as batting average wise. It wasn't high average, but he had a lot of home runs, a lot of RBIs. So you're going to get probably close to that. Maybe not 30, 40 home runs right off the bat, but an opportunity for him to reestablish himself with the defensive shift gone from Major League Baseball.
Well, let's hope. I mean, I think he signed a 1-year deal. To me, it smells like, hey, if we're in contention, we'll keep you around. If we're not, we'll see you later down the type thing. That's exactly what the deal is.
And not a bad idea if you're able to get the prospects you need. But that's the problem with the Cubs right now. They haven't gotten the prospects they needed when they traded Rizzo, when they made the moves they made over the last 2-3 years. They haven't really gotten the top level prospects you wanted to build to rebuild with. So I mean, and I agree that falls on Jed Hoyer. It absolutely falls on the front office that you're supposed to get these guys that are supposed to make you a competitive team in 2-3 years. Well, here we are, 2 years, 3 years later. And you've gone backwards even more than what you were at the time when you had those guys on the team. And like I said, you got nothing for Wilson Contreras. You're not getting any compensation for him. So now, what steps forward have the Cubs done? And that's I think it should be what the North Side fans should be more angry about is that what does this rebuild have done? You've taken 1 step forward and 4 steps backwards.
Not a damn thing, Jonathan. Not a damn thing. We haven't done a damn thing. Is Carlos Correa our saving grace? Is he the next big domino to fall? I don't think he's coming to Chicago. I wouldn't if I was him. But
I was like, the ties I saw were the Twins, and I think I saw the Red Sox the other day in one of the articles.
I saw the Giants at one point.
The Giants too, yeah.
Giants. I don't know. I think everything's kind of waiting on Dansby to come back from his honeymoon right now. I think that's another issue because you have the Dodgers in on Dansby, Cubs are in on Dansby. Red Sox were in on Dansby, and obviously the Braves are in on Dansby. So, and with the Braves making the moves right now that they made today, you kind of wonder what is the next move. And I think everything's kind of at a standstill unless Correa does, jump first, which I don't. I think both Correa's group and Swanson's group are going to let the others let the other make the first move because they want to know where the market's going to continue to be. Is Correa going to reset the market on shortstops? And if that's the case, Swanson's group's going to be like, okay, well, we're not going to take a discount even more than what Atlanta's wanting us to do. We're going to go get the most money we can, and that could be in LA or that could be Chicago. So it's just a matter of, I think, those two particularly, I think they're kind of waiting for Swanson to come back from honeymoon because he got married over the weekend. And then things will kind of pick up from there a little bit more. So if Correa makes the move first, I don't think Chicago's a team for him. And like I said, when we talked last week, I thought Bogarts was going to be the target for the Cubs, and he got
to the Padres.
And he got 300. He got 300 million too, didn't he?
Yeah. He got. I get the money.
Do the Padres have like secret drug tunnels? Are they in cahoots with the cartel or something? Because they're out here paying everybody and getting money for everybody. Like, what are they doing? They're like supposed to allegedly kind of small market team, and they just got everybody.
That was an 11-year, $280 million deal. So.
I talked to a couple of an agent the other day. One of the guys I'm working out with out here in Fort Worth, and one of their agents out here with them, and I'm sitting there thinking, scratching my head, because they were offering Trey Turner $300, they're offering $400 for Judge, they paying Machado $300, they're paying Tatis $300 million. Where's the money coming from? Because I'm 32 years old. I grew up in the 90s. I watched baseball a lot when I was younger, and the Padres for the longest time were basically what the Rays and A's are. They were not spending money at all in that time frame. What I'm trying to figure out too, do they have a money printing machine, or are they smuggling money, or doing something?
Inheritance money? They got inheritance money.
They got one of those 3D printers. They just print stacks.
I mean, you're not far. You're not far from Mexico. So is a cartel money through them, or something?
They got secret tunnels or something.
I don't know. I really don't know where this is coming from for the Padres. They are not a big market, and it's. San Diego's a good baseball town. I'm not going to take anything away. The fans love baseball, especially since the Chargers left. They have nobody else to cheer for. So, as far as sports wise, but that's not a big market. That's not a big market, franchise historically. So I don't know where they're getting this money from, but it's astonishing to see, and it's making things interesting because they're spending money like the Dodgers. And so I was shocked that Bogarts got the money that he did, $280 to $300 million. That blew me away, because I thought the Cubs were the team that he was going to go to. I thought that was going to be the group that was going to pay him the most money. He was going to jump and be the shortstop for the Cubs, but that was not the case. So it's going to cause a team to overpay, I think, either Swanson or Correa more so. And it's going to be very interesting. I'll be honest, as far as those two guys, and I hate to break your heart, Nick, I don't see either one of them going to the Cubs.
He ain't got to break me. It's already a foregone conclusion to me.
I think one of them is going to go to LA, and it might. If it's not the Braves for Swanson, I think LA is the team where he goes to, just because Freddie Freeman is out there, and they're the age. They share an agent. Sadly, and I hate that, because again, how the contract negotiations broke down with Freeman, and what they're probably doing the same thing to the Braves right now. The Braves are not biting; they know what they're going to do. So it's either Braves or Dodgers for Swanson, and I probably think Correa goes back to Minnesota. I think he'll go back to Minnesota and probably do a 1 or 2 year deal with an option for that second year, and try to redo this again next year. And he said he doesn't mind doing that again if that's the case, and everything. So I could see that the Cubs miss on one of the big shortstops in the market right now.
By the way, Z Money, I know you're out there still. Doesn't look like that D-Hop's going to get those 20 points.
Did he get hurt? I didn't see.
No, he fumbled the ball earlier. He gave it the ball, fumbled. And then right before this return, before the Arizona's defense just returned a touchdown for a fumble on that side, they threw an interception to New England. So gotcha. It's not looking good on that offensive side of Arizona right now.
I just didn't want him to be hurt. That's all. He can
right. Yeah. So one of the guys I was looking up to see like what was going on in San Diego here, and according to the San Diego Tribune, Padres chairman and owner Pete Seidler, whatever, he is the one actually pumping the unprecedented money. Is what they stated.
Where's he getting his money at? That's
Oh,
the thing.
this-
Like the Mets are. The Mets,
I'm sure this
we
guy's
know
ridiculous.
the Mets are overpaying for everybody, and they're super high above the luxury tax.
Did you
Cohen's
see?
gonna pay all that?
Did you see what the Mets are at? If you include the luxury tax, what their payroll
Yes.
for 2023 is going to be? It's going to be
Yeah.
over 400 million. That's including the luxury tax.
And Tatis isn't due back until what was that like
20
August?
games. No,
Yeah,
Yeah.
What?
Tatis only has 20 games. He's only got 20 games left on his suspension.
Oh, I thought he got one of the higher ones. My bad. I thought he was up there.
It was 80 games because they made a run in the postseason. It got less because of that. So I mean, it got 20 games left on his suspension, which
I didn't
they're
think about
probably
that.
they're gonna put probably him in the left field now. He's gonna be an outfielder for them.
Yeah.
Yeah, what I read is that they're going to put him in left, Soto in right, Bogarts at short. The shortstop was going to move to second baseman going to move to first base, and there you go.
It'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to see. And can
Do you
and
think? Let me ask you this, because like that's some video game type stuff, right? Like I'm picking up MLB The Show. I sign everybody I can. Guess what? I'm just going to go in here. I'm going to change your settings. No longer, Xander Bogaerts, you're going to play first base for me, and because I can still hit with you. Is that going to work in real life? Switching all these guys, a second baseman now moving to first. You're the professional baseball player.
in that aspect of it, yeah. I mean, well, you can have a middle infielder switch off. Can you have a middle infielder play first base? I don't think that's going to work. Now, Cronenworth, I think I saw Cronenworth. He's going to be the first baseman. I think that's what it is. Cronenworth has experience playing first base. So if you have experience in that aspect of it, sure, you can be successful. How successful is he going to be? A Gold Glove first baseman? No, I don't think he'll be a Gold Glove first baseman. Can he be serviceable for you to at least to kind of keep the defense clean? Yeah, I could see that, because if he had no experience and this was a Scott Hatteberg situation where you're just throwing him over there and hopefully it works out, I don't know. I don't know how that will work out. We don't see that very often. We saw, Will Myers play first base after playing in the outfield for the Padres, and he did okay. So maybe they're not valuing, first base as highly, even after they traded for Eric Hosmer a couple of years ago. I think maybe their value of first base has just kind of dropped down and say, hey, we have a really good third base. We have a really good shortstop. We have a really good second base. They can make the plays. We just have a first baseman that just needs to make the routine. Maybe that's how they're viewing it right there. In essence, though, if you just plug and play anybody, and this is coming from a first baseman, and I hate that, one of my favorite lines, if we go back to that movie Moneyball, where you're throwing Hatteberg out there, my favorite line of all time is where, Billy Beane in the movie goes, hey, first base is not that hard. Tell him Juan Washington's right there. He goes, it's incredibly hard. That's my favorite line, because it is. First base is a hard position to play. You can't just plug and play anybody over there unless you have experience. And Cronenworth has the experience to be able to play that over there. So, which, if you want to talk about, I'll tell you a little, as far as that Padres team, they have a catcher who didn't really play catcher until he got to the Padres. Austin Nola, who was a shortstop at LSU. He was drafted to play shortstop by the Mariners. He bounced around playing short and third. He played a little bit of outfield. He was, he never really made it to the big leagues. And they just said, hey, you know what? My team needs a catcher. Sure, I'll go play catcher. I'll go learn a position in the offseason. I'll show up to spring training and be a catcher. So, I mean, maybe they figure something where they can plug and play guys who've never really played the positions as much and be able to make it work. And it might work out for Cronenworth. Who knows at the moment right now? But it's unprecedented. I'll say that.
So I'll give you the current depth chart according to MLB.com for the San Diego Padres. Right field, Juan Soto, Trent Grisham in center. Left field, they currently have Juan Soto in, but we don't know Tatis will be there when time comes. Bogarts at short. Third base, Manny Machado. Haesung Kim at second. Jake Cronenworth at first, and Austin Nola in the catcher position. So,
I mean, that left side of the infield is going to be really good, though.
Yeah. And no, is it this year there's no shifts?
Yeah, no shifts for 2023 start now. So you got to play regular defense now.
They got some speed. They got some speed down there in the whole infield right now to be able to get those Milners. So
Soto going from left to right, not a whole lot of difference there, right? And
Yeah.
just I
No,
mean,
because he's always been a right fielder.
Yeah, Tatis playing left field's not. I mean, he's athletic enough to figure that out. I feel like.
yeah, shortstops can play almost any position essentially. For most, let's put it this way: most shortstops can play any position needed.
Yeah, I think you can. I think he can do pretty well. Again, is he going to be a gold? Are we going to consider Tatis one of the top 3 left fielders in baseball? Is he going to be a Gold Glover? No, but that's not what you're wanting. That's not. You're not paying him 300 at that point to do that. You're paying him to go be a hitter. So have that bat in the lineup. The old saying goes, if you can hit, they'll find a spot for you. Well, that's what they're going to do. That's what they're living by, that moment where if you hit, they'll find a place for you in the lineup. So if he can be serviceable out there and get in left field, which I mean. In that ballpark, it's not as complicated because it's not as left field. It's not as big. You don't have to deal with that much as far as room wise. So he can cover ground and be able to go make plays out there with a really good center fielder in Trent Grisham. So he can make things. He can make it work for them and really, like I said, be serviceable. That's all they need at that point. It's just going to be a serviceable left fielder.
Yeah, no, I'm with you there. It's gonna be interesting to see how this all shapes out because I'm sure they're not done building that bullpen either. So, the Padres, they're gonna spend some money still in that way. Let's talk about the trade real quick that happened today between the Braves, Brewers, and the A's. So the Braves got Sean Murphy, catcher, from the A's. Brewers get William Contreras, Joel Payamps. I can't say his name, Justin Yeager, and then the A's get a bunch of other guys essentially to fill in that A's team that seems to just sell.
That's Jonathan. Hey, Jonathan's gonna go suit up for the A's. That's the team.
He might as well at this point. They just keep having these random guys start over there. So, but what's your thoughts on this trade, Jonathan? That happened between, at least the thoughts for your Braves and also the Brewers.
I'm intrigued as far as what again, Sean Murphy's a really good defensive catcher and he can hit the ball and his numbers were very comparable to Travis d'Arnaud. So that's the only interesting part is you have a younger version of Travis d'Arnaud.
Yes.
But you traded away your young all-star catcher / DH. So now Nick's Cubs has to deal with both Contreras' brothers in the NL Central. So that was my only part. There's two guys in that trade that I was a little bit questioning as far as why we made the move. Trading away William Contreras, who again is a young piece of that team, and I understand why that you make that trade because you're going to have to, especially if you have a younger guy like Sean Murphy coming in. It doesn't make sense to have a young catcher be the backup if you have an older guy d'Arnaud, who's now going to be relegated to the backup spot. But the promise that Contreras showed this year as a hitter and being an all-star as a DH, that one makes me a little bit nervous as far as losing that bat in the lineup. Does he have work to do as a defensive catcher? Yes, he does. Does he have work to do as calling games? Yes, he does. But the bat itself is what you've been developing, and it really took off this year for what he was able to do in that lineup. The other piece that I was questioning was Kyle Muller that the Braves traded because he was your number one pitcher in the farm. Yeah. He has moments of being a really good pitcher. He has some work to do still to be a major league pitcher. But in my eyes, this was the offseason for him to be the number 5 starter. I think this actually gives a look at what the Braves feels Mike Soroka's rehab coming back from 2 torn Achilles, where he might be at, that he could come in and be that 5th guy, as well as a Bryce Elder coming in. So I think they have their mind of saying that we have our 2 guys who are going to battle for that 5th spot. We need to trade Muller because he's not going to be in the competition, and that's why they unloaded him in that aspect of. And you get a all-star catcher, you get a top defensive catcher, which I think with the game being where we are defensively now, and what Major League Baseball is trying to do, they're trying to get more stolen bases, more action. A top defensive catcher is going to be very important. Travis d'Arnaud is not that. He's not a top defensive catcher. He was actually middle pack, bottom, below average defensively on the metrics. William Contreras, same thing, about below average on the defensive metrics. So you improve your defense on the catching side of the Braves do, but you traded away essentially two guys that are going to be an all-star in William Contreras and a potential major league, a top 3 rotational guy in Kyle Muller. If the development if he gets going, he can be, and I think that's going to be a piece that we're going to sit there for the Braves. We're going to sit there and say we really needed to trade Muller because he, with Max Fried in that rotation as lefties, could have been dangerous in the future. But again, you have two guys in the Braves rotation in Soroka and Bryce Elder that have shown major league success. So maybe they feel confident that Soroka is getting healthy and he's going to be healthy in 2023, as well as Bryce Elder, who's pitched really well the times that he got called up for.
No, that's fair. Yeah, it's fair on that. And I was kind of surprised on that Muller one too, but I think it's trades that all 3 teams, well, 2 of the 3, let's be real, 2 of the 3 teams needed to make to be able to stay competitive in the NL currently. So, especially the Braves, right? Staying young, getting guys to build with that core. Having a guy like Sean Murphy come in is amazing for that. I got one more guy for you. Some rumors going into play I read as well today. For some reason I was reading baseball stuff, but Carlos Rodon, the pitcher for the Giants, really effective last year. There's rumors linking him to the Yankees. There's rumors linking him to the Twins, and the rumors back to the Giants here. Do you think he goes to the Yankees?
The Yankee hater in me hopes not, because that would be.
I was thinking the same thing. I'm like, why are they always linked? But they're talking about another major deal with, like the rumor was like a 5 or 6 year deal with some big money into play for a 30-year-old pitcher.
I'll say he's up there in age. Man.
Yeah, he's 30.
30 for pitching. That's you're in your prime still at 30. So that will make me nervous. Again, I'm a Yankee hater. I'm an admitted Yankee hater, and I don't care if anybody hates me about that. But that will make them very dangerous because, again, starting pitching has been a problem for them over the last couple years. Starting pitching depth has been a problem. Quality starting pitching depth has been a problem. And you throw Carlos Rodon as a number 2 with Luis Severino now a 3. That's a bit of a problem because, again, we know the offense is going to score runs, and they've been able to do that and plug and play guys here and there. And you win 100 games with a shaky starting rotation. You put Carlos Rodon in that rotation now. Who's a lefty? That you go righty lefty with Garrett Cole one day, and then you go Rodon from the left side the next, back to righty with Severino, and then you have Nestor after that as Nestor Cortez, who's a lefty. So you have lefty, righty, lefty, righty, lefty on 4 straight days. That makes it scary. And I'm kind of hoping that doesn't happen. I'm hoping it goes anywhere else, anywhere but the Yankees. If it's me as the baseball fan and Yankee hater, I don't want to see that. But at the same time, that's a good move for the Yankees. That would put them back at that. As far as where things are standing right now, I think that move could make them better than the Astros.
Yeah, that could push them past where the Astros are currently, because they're still looking after some pieces left as well.
That's what I was going to ask. What's the deal for the Astros? No Verlander obviously gone. Like, can they fill that gap of that he was a Cy Young winner?
Yeah, you fill it with Lance McCullers. Lance McCullers, who missed majority of the season, he got healthy, and you know what he's going to be. He's a younger arm. He's got electric stuff. So you're plugging and playing McCullers to be essentially in that rotation and taking over. Either and you have guys who can really light up an offense, on the mound right there. So is Verlander lost for the Astros? Big loss? Yeah, it is because of what he put up numbers wise this year. But he was not going to be the future. He's not, he's the now. But at some point, as what we saw in the last couple of years, where the Astros let George Springer go, they let Carlos Correa go. So they've been planning for the win now, but at the same time doing it with the future of the young guys coming in. And absolutely, Framber Valdez stepping up, and he's been quality start after quality start after quality start. He was like 26 or 27 quality starts this season. I mean, that's unheard of. That's unprecedented. He's a young guy stepping up. You throw McCullers back in the rotation now, and being that guy that can really get it going. So they find ways to develop guys, and they have I'm sure they have a plan to plug a young guy in and really take off, or maybe they make a move at least getting somebody else that's out there a little bit younger, maybe and try to take that spot that Verlander left. But they plan for the future as well as the win of now. And that's what the Astros' success has been over the last 5-6 years, and it continues. So I don't doubt they have something in mind to replace Verlander, but their pitching they have currently, they're not slouches. They're really good at starting pitching.
It's true. Yeah. I mean, we already saw it in the World Series there of what they have there and potential.
I mean, Valdez was the best pitcher in the World Series, one of the best pitchers in the World Series for them. Verlander was not. Verlander was not a factor as far as the outcome of the World Series. So you had Valdez and McCullers pitch well at times. They got some depth in that rotation with the younger guys stepping up. And like I said, it's winning now with the future, and that's scary at times to how the Astros been able to do that.
Yeah, it is. It's the way they just keep rebuilding. It feels like just putting in pieces. Oh, this guy's got all right. Yeah, we're good. Okay, back at it. Playoffs again. So it's amazing as it goes. Anything else, Nick, you got?
No, I'm good, my man.
All right, Jonathan, man, we won't keep you too long here. We'll let you go. Appreciate you coming on, talking a little baseball with us after practice in the rain and everything. So much appreciated.
Oh, always, guys. I enjoy it. I appreciate you guys letting me do this with y'all.
Oh, it's always fun, man.
Opening day with the A's, Jonathan.
What's that?
I said we'll see you on opening day with the A's, baby.
Maybe something can happen. Who knows? Maybe I gotta make a phone call or something like that. Maybe help put a word in from you guys.
We'll drop some Twitter posts.
Hey, tell us. Just bring us with you. We'll be your, hype man, or if they need some broadcast guys, we can,
Hey, all the
my guys with us.
All the workout videos I'm doing. Maybe I need to go do some BP and put some videos to see if what I can do on that right there. Maybe I can get some notice on that.
Give me like 5 good clips. I'll throw together a highlight video and send it to them.
Yeah, hey, I got you on that. Hey, Cubs have a first baseman?
No, they're looking.
Wisdom, that's it. Yeah.
Love it.
Hey, we'll see what happens.
All right, Jonathan. Well, thanks, man. Appreciate it.
See you guys.
See you. Jonathan Grishman, guys. Always fun to talk to. Well, this game has been going on forever, by the way. Usually we're like wrapping up or, 2 minutes within and it's still going. Still a chance for a D-Hop 20 or a TD going into play, but the way it's looking, it's not too hot. I don't know if you're watching a little bit here, but they were showing footage of like Mac Jones, literally yelling at the sideline and, basically telling him to ignore him. And he's looking at his playbook. Then he goes to give Matt Patricia a big hug. I just think there's a lot of back and forth there. What I love seeing, though, is Mac Jones speaking up. Like this kid has finally got comfortable enough and maybe, I don't know, something clicked in his head. Now we're seeing speaking up. Like last time there was a Thursday night game they lost there. He's yelling, throw the damn ball. Why our running game sucks. And I love it. I love hearing that because those are guys you want. Those are guys that are confident enough that know they can lead the game and they want to take charge. So that's a good sign. I say that's a good sign for Patriots fans that want Mac Jones in.
Just get the kid some weapons.
Yes. Lord have mercy. Anything.
Yes. He has no weapons. No. This isn't Tom Brady Patriots. I get that, but
it's a new type. Right.
Yes, yeah. It's new time, new league. Like it's like we got to get the kids some weapons.
Oh man, it's bad, man. It's bad coming in play. So, all right, guys. Real quick here, UnderdogFantasy.com or Underdog app for you guys wanting to continue to play fantasy football. If you don't have a toilet bowl in your league, you make sure you use promo code LTS. You can do pick'ems. You can do the over-unders. So, like today, you can do Kyler Murray over if you really wanted to lose some money. Stuff like that. You can do all sports, hockey stuff. I do it for best ball. I did a bunch of videos on best ball leading up to our season start. So, looking at a profit there so far. So, we'll see if that continues. But make sure you guys do that. Underdog Fantasy. Download the app. Go in the browser. Use promo code LTS Larry Tom Sam for up to a matching deposit up to 100. So you put 100, you get 100. You put 50 in, you get 50. So it's a great way to just continue focusing on the NFL if you don't want to lose touch with the game. So, Nick, any final thoughts?
Nah, man. Don't forget about the giveaway that we're doing here on LTS as well.
Yep, that's right. Leave a comment below. Enter yourself a chance to win a jersey of your choice. Let's talk sports T-shirt or mug, and $100. All you got to do is leave a comment below. Make sure you're subscribed to Let's Talk Sports. Make sure you subscribe to Whiskey Sports Podcast, and subscribe to the Bodkins Show. That's all you got to do. It'll be drawing will happen after Christmas, so make sure you guys do that. It's gonna be Dan does a great job there. So outside of that, guys, everybody, make sure you like, subscribe, follow everybody we love talking every Monday with everybody. So we will chat with you next week. See you guys.
See y'all.
Hey, everybody. Thanks for tuning in to the Buffoons and Bodkins Show. Make sure you hit that bell, subscribe, and follow for more content. Swing over to the Bodkins Show, subscribe and follow for him. And then also swing over to Let's Talk Sports Network and go subscribe to him because it's phenomenal for what he does. And there's a lot more to come on that channel between us as well. So make sure you guys do that. Thank you for watching.